Jimmy Leslie, press editor at Guitar Player. What you were just hearing there is this, the Universal Audio UAFX Enigmatic Overdrive Special, 82 Overdrive Special. So what we're talking about here is a amp modeling pedal, and the amp that this would be modeling is the hallowed Dumble Overdrive Special. Perhaps the holy grail of amplifiers, therefore making this the potential holy grail of amplifier modelers. And for those who aren't in the know, Howard Dumble was pretty much the most mythical amp maker in the history of Megan amps. And people from Sonny Landreth to Ben Harper and David Lindley and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Carlos Santana and on and on and on, John Mayer, use these amps. There were only like 300 or so of them ever made. Now that he's passed away, Dumble passed away in 22, they're so rare and so expensive that most mortals will never get their hands on one, let alone buy one or hear one. So when we had a meeting at the NAMM show, last year's NAMM show, not this one, so they asked, what would you like to see us modeling next? And Dumble had been, Universal Audio has been doing this incredible job modeling pedals by Fender and modeling the Fender Deluxe, modeling the Marshall 68 Super Lead. These pedals have been so great. I immediately was like, well, man, could you do a Dumble? And unbelievably, they have done it. And that is one of the sounds. So what you're looking at here is it's based on that same format. If you've seen any of these UAFX amp modeler pedals, they all have the 6 knobs, the 3 toggle switches, and 2 foot switches at the bottom. So some of these knobs have dual functions. And this is the preset foot switch. This is like live. So what you can do is hook this up to your phone. And when you do hook it up to your phone and you pair it, boy, the whole world of things opens up to you. You wind up being able to use your phone to recall a bunch of factory presets, artist favorites, customize it, save your own. And so what I've done really here is just put in what I'm really after is that David Lindley tone that was my hack version of Mercury Blues, but that was kind of the one that I was after the most. And I put that in the live mode. And then what I'll do is just put another favorite over here on the preset mode, usually like a rhythm thing, and keep it pretty simple from there. So I'm going to grab a Stratocaster and let you hear how that sounds in a minute. But basically, I will just say that there's a full review of this online at Guitar Player. And man, oh man, these are the kind of tones that are so hard to find otherwise for us that can't get our hands on the real deal. If you want to just look at it in the simplest way, imagine you took like a Fender Deluxe and you just hyped it up so that you get somewhere between, a Fender but not quite all the way to like the sort of what I would call the boxiness, the sort of more square wave sound of a Marshall that's definitely more of a rock and roll sound. To me, this falls right in the middle of somewhere that's like just right on the edge of blues blowing up, So I'm going to throw it back on the floor, grab the Stratocaster to let you hear a couple more tones, and you can read the full review at Guitar Player. That's one of the presets just called, I think it's Rock Crunch, which to me pretty much nails that Boulevard tone. And now I'm gonna throw on that heavier tone, which is one that I just came up with. I call it Searing Sunny. So there you go. There's a Stratocaster. The other guitar I was playing was a Godin Summit, and you can really, the guitar that you play makes a huge difference in what this is going to do. Something that Dumbo was famous for doing. It's like the amp isn't really there to do stuff for you. It's just there to bring out whatever you're doing and whatever the sound of the guitar is in its most true way, I guess. So you kind of get into it, what you put out of it, but you're able to do this at such low volumes with the amp modeler here. It's just like, I had that interview with Carlos Santana, I mentioned in the review, where I asked him about the magic of the Dumbo, and he said it's a lot of it has to do with getting the sound of what he called like a full balloon, a full sonic balloon, even if the amp was turned down, instead of having to turn it all the way up to kind of get that full balloon sound. And you know, another famous Dumbo user is Ben Harper, and according to him, you know, when I texted him and said, "Hey, what do you think of this pedal?" He was just like, he wrote back one word. It said, "Dude." And he said, you know, that the pedal is scary good. He hasn't come across a player that doesn't feel that way. And while the tone is Dumbo adjacent, to quote him, it's also got its own mojo. And I would say that too. You can go through on your iOS device on your phone, click through many of these factory presets, some of the artist presets, build your own. Man, you could get anything from really big and clean and bold to that smoking overdrive sound. It's an array of sounds that Dumbo was famous for getting, not really necessarily just the 82 Overdrive Special. And speaking to James Santiago, one of the designers over there, he said they did get their hands on a few early Dumbos, and I think they, you know, went ahead and just put their own mojo into it too. It's one of the more extraordinary pedals that I've ever played through in my entire life. It sort of sits alone. To me, nothing else really, I can't get anything else to make this sound. And I also have really good luck pushing it with, like if I put on that rock crunch, and was to be here, with Universal Audio's 1176 compressor pedal, just to kick it a little bit, like in the front end, just like you might do the amp, you know. Just beautiful, harmonically dense, deep, rich. I love it. I hope you do too. It's totally worth checking out, and read the full review at guitarplayer.com. Thanks, y'all.